What's the most humiliating lie someone tried to spread about you? I've always believed that if you keep your head down, work hard, and treat people with respect, you'll be fine. But apparently that doesn't apply when someone decides your success makes them look bad. I worked at this small but busy bar downtown. The kind of place where regulars come in 3 times a week, and you know exactly what they're going to order before they sit down. I was good at the job. I don't mean to sound cocky, but I worked fast, remembered orders, and made customers laugh. People tipped me well because they liked me, and that's why Brian hated me. Brian was another bartender, a few years older than me, and the kind of guy who thought being the loudest in the room made him the best. He'd slam bottles down, tell crude jokes, and brag constantly about how much he made in tips. Except his jar was never half as full as mine. It started small. He'd make little comments under his breath when I'd get a big tip. Guess they just like you smiling pretty. Or, must be nice when people don't care if you water down their drinks. I ignored it. I figured jealousy passes. But Brian wasn't the type to let things go. One Friday night, we were slammed. Every table full, music loud, people packed shoulder to shoulder. I'm running back and forth pouring drinks when the manager, Clara, pulls me aside with a serious look. We need to talk. Now. My stomach drops. What's wrong? She leads me into the back office and shuts the door. We've had complaints, she says, about you stealing tips from other bartenders' jars. I blinked at her, stunned. What? Number absolutely not. But she's holding a printed email in her hands. A customer claimed they saw me pocketing bills from Brian's jar when he wasn't looking. They said it happened more than once. I felt like I'd been punched in the chest. That's not true. Why would I? Then it hits me. This isn't random. This is Brian. He's behind this. But Clara doesn't want to hear my theories. She tells me she'll be watching closely and that any dishonesty won't be tolerated. Basically, I'm one step away from being fired over something I didn't do. That night, Brian struts around like he owns the place. I catch him smirking every time Clara glances at me. He even has the audacity to say, "Oh, don't worry, man. Everyone slips up sometimes. Just admit it and move on." I wanted to break a bottle over his head. Instead, I swallowed the anger and decided if Brian wanted a war, I'd give him one. See, what Brian didn't know was that Clara had just installed new security cameras above the bar. Brand new, wide angle, high definition. They weren't even fully operational yet, but I knew she'd been testing them. So, the next few shifts, I made sure to keep my hands far away from Brian's jar. I didn't even touch it to move it for space. I let the cameras watch everything. And then the universe handed me a gift. Late Saturday, Brian got sloppy. Really sloppy. He poured himself shots while on the clock, started flirting with a customer's girlfriend right in front of the guy. And the cherry on top, I caught him palming a 20 from my tip jar and sliding it into his own. He did it casually, like he'd done it before, but this time the cameras were rolling. I didn't say a word. I waited until Monday morning, walked into Clara's office and asked if I could review the footage with her. She gave me this suspicious look, like maybe I was wasting her time, but I stood firm. 5 minutes into the footage, Brian sealed his own coffin. The shot was crystal clear. Him looking both ways, snatching the bill from my jar, and tucking it into his apron. Clara froze. That's not what the complaint said. No, I said, my voice shaking with equal parts anger and satisfaction, because the complaints were fake. Someone set me up. We kept watching, and wouldn't you know it, there were multiple moments over the weekend where Brian's hand just happened to brush over my jar, always when I was busy mixing drinks. By the end of the tape, Clara's jaw was tight. "Leave this with me," she said quietly. That night, Brian showed up for his shift like nothing was wrong. Loud, laughing, bragging as usual. Until Clara called him into the office. He went in cocky. He came out pale. No strut, no swagger. Just grabbed his jacket and left without saying a word. Turns out Brian had been skimming from coworkers for months and planting stories to cover his tracks. He didn't just lose his job. Clara blacklisted him with every bar owner she knew downtown. Word spread fast. No one wanted to touch him. As for me, Clara apologized. She said she should have trusted me more, and she gave me a raise for putting up with the mess. But the best part? A week later, one of our regulars asked, "Hey, where's Brian?" I smiled and said, "Guess he finally watered down his own career."